Sorry, not sorry.
Okay. Alright, good morning. I'm Sergeant First Class Tate, and today we're going to be talking about pork fabrication. A little bit later, hopefully, we'll get our second pig in. We ordered 2 pigs. Yesterday, I cut this pig down from a whole pig to a half a pig. It's just easier to manipulate and show you for demonstration purposes. Okay. So we're going to talk mainly about the primal cuts first. We're going to go into some cuts where we can, the way we utilize them and the way we normally see them. Okay? So does anybody know the primal cuts for the pig? Should be in your book. Should talk about some of them. Give me one. Let's see if we can take turns with, let's locate these primal cuts. Yes?
The leg.
The leg. Okay, so we got the leg here. It's the back leg. Alright, next.
The picnic shoulder.
Picnic shoulder. Okay, the picnic shoulder is right here. We're going to separate that. Next. The butt. Okay, or also commonly referred to as what? The Boston butt. Now, which direction do you think it is? Think it's on the butt side?
No.
No, right. It's on the. It's the other half of the shoulder, of the picnic shoulder. Okay, so you have the picnic shoulder down here, and you have the Boston butt up here, which also has a portion of the scapula bone. From once we cut it in half, we're going to show you that scapula bone there. Okay. What else? The loin. So here is the loin. You can see that this is the spine, and on the spine you've got some different bones here. You guys have the description of the bones in the book right there, right? So some of these, there's a lot of different names for these bones. Okay, working from the front to back. What do we got?
Blade.
The blades.
Neck bone, sorry.
The neck bone here, yeah.
Alias. Atlas, sorry. Sun, Atlas, neck bone,
Yeah, here.
blade bone.
Okay. Then what?
Feather bones.
Okay, the feather bones.
Backbone, chine bone.
The chine bone. So inside, so you have the little bones, right? But inside you have the rounded bones. The rounded bones are the chine bones. Okay, or the spine, where the spinal cord runs through, are the chine bones. And then the feather bones are the ones that come off of it. Okay, so behind that, we have the loin, right here. Okay, now in the loin, there's also another meat. It's not a primal meat, but what is on the inside? What's on the inside of the cavity? The tenderloin. So the tenderloin, you guys can see, it's right here. We're going to remove that once we break this down into the final cuts. Okay, so we should have, we have the pig neck, we have the Boston butt, we have the loin, we have the leg. Is that all of them?
The belly.
The belly, right here. Okay, we can't forget about the belly. So the belly also has the ribs in it. Okay, once we take the belly off, we're going to show you where bacon's made. Okay. So let's talk about our first cut. So let's get rid of the head, as we normally wouldn't have the head on once we start working with it. But something that part of the pig that we want to talk about also is the jowl. Okay, which is right here. It's like the cheek muscle. So I'm going to flip this over. Now I got a pig that was big enough for me to manipulate in class without having to have a whole lot of help. Now, when we're cutting on this pig, this is for cutting bone, not meat. And these are for cutting meat, not bone. Although you can separate through joints with knives very easily, and then use the pressure of the meat, the weight of it, gravity, and force on a 90-degree angle to break bones, and we'll show you about that. Okay. So let's take out the. We're going to take out the jowl, right? So we're going to just score this here. Okay, so we've got the jowl.
What would you do with the jowl?
So you can make jowl bacon. I've never made it, but they say you can make jowl bacon with it. So we can probably try some of that thing. Someone's got to look up a recipe. And what my intent is to show you how to break this down, but I'm going to let you guys work on it, cook on it. Okay, I've got a list of recipes. We're going to we're going to talk about the different kinds of barbecue from the different states, Texas and New Orleans barbecue, the differences, cook some of these with different rubs, different ways, in the oven, in the smoker, on the barbecue. We're trying to get some of those things done today, okay? Alright, so let's go ahead and finish cutting this one up. So we remove the head. Now the head, what can we do with the head if it was whole? What can we do with the head?
Stop moving.
Huh? What are they?
The head cheese.
Head cheese. Okay, so head cheese, we can slow cook this in liquid, and it would congeal because out of the bones comes the gelatin, right? So out of that, you have the head cheese, and once it's all cooked, you can cut it up, turn it into head cheese. I've never made it, but I know the right way to do it. And you guys want to try head cheese later? Be my guest. Okay. Also, you have a pretty good sized muscle, the tongue. You can also cook and eat. The main thing about working with an animal when you buy one whole is to utilize the whole thing to save yourself money in the restaurant, right? Alright, so let's talk about breaking this thing down. I think first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take off the shoulder. Now, so where do we cut this picnic ham from? Where do we cut the picnic shoulder and the Boston butt? Well, we utilize the ribs as a rib count when we get ready to take this thing down in sections. Let's see if I can get some of this section back. Alright, so our first cut, we're going to go between the second and third rib to separate the front shoulder and the Boston butt from the loin section, right? So we're going to count everyone's cooked ribs, right? So we know we've got, how many ribs are on pig normally? How many ribs are on most animals? How many sets of ribs? 13 sets of ribs most of the time for most animals. But pigs have been bred certain ways. The size of them, they can also have an additional rib or two. Okay, but for this pig, we'll have to count the ribs once we get ready to take it apart. Find out how many ribs we got. This one also comes with the kidneys. We want to utilize that later. I've got me an ice bath here. So any meat that we cut off, we can always turn it into sausage, right? Nothing is wasted unless it's bone, and the bone can be turned into stock. All right, so we're going to go over between the first, second, 1, 2, 3. All right, so here is going to be our first cut. Now, if you can hear the difference, we don't want to cut the shoulder, okay? Whenever you get ready to work on this, you're cutting, be mindful of where this elbow is. Make sure that it's forward so that we don't cut on any of the meat, okay? We only want to cut where we're at. All right, so you'll notice the difference of the sound when I'm cutting on bone and when it transfers into the meat, okay? You've got a loud, raspy sound, and then it goes in a real soft thud sound when you hit the meat. You want to stop at that point and just knife it. Okay? Alright, so what else are we going to have to cut through right here? Right here. What do you think? Look at your diagram. Right now you have on the diagram page. Okay, we're cutting, right now we're at this is the top, this is the Boston butt. What bone are we fixing to cut through? Huh? Cut through the spine here. What bone are we fixing to cut through here? The shoulder blade, okay? We don't want to cut around it because then we're gonna be. I mean, if you're gonna take this whole thing and debone the whole thing, maybe cut the whole thing into sausage. You can debone the whole animal,
Right.
and you can just have
But
bone.
that's not the points of the front.
But the points of the final cuts is they are sectioned off in such a way that the meat is. There's certain cuts of meat in each piece. Okay. Now we're gonna need to separate the Boston butt from the picnic shoulder. Now you'll notice here we've got two bones, right? Between the second and third, so we've got two rib bones here. We're gonna have to get rid of. But what bone are we also gonna cut through somewhere right in here? You guys said it earlier. The shoulder bone, right? So the shoulder blade is kind of bladed here, comes down to a bone, comes to a joint, then comes into what would be basically your forearm. This muscle here, this bone here, is here, and then from here on, it's pretty much right here. All right, and we're gonna take these pieces off as well and show you where to cut the foot, where to get the hocks out of, and also the rest of the shank. Okay. So before we cut this, we're gonna move into the foot. Now the foot, what do we know about the hock? Who's had ham hocks? Okay, the ham hocks is the joint. It's not the bone, it's pretty much the joint. So if I was to cut this on the joint, I would be cutting the ham hock in half. So what I want to do is move down farther below the joint, the hock joint, and remove the foot. Now you can purchase really nice saws, but what we've got to work with here today is the hacksaw. Okay. Alright, so we got the foot. What can we use the foot for? Pickled pig's feet, yes. Which I actually, who's ever had them? They're actually pretty good.
Really?
I do like pickled pig's feet.
No kidding.
My mom got me hooked on them. Alright, so now we need to separate the hock joint from the leg. So we're going to go about just right above the joint. We're going to separate it. I'm going to snore this around it real quick. You're going to notice me use a kind of like a pistol grip motion like this when we get ready to cut some of these things. Some of the reason for that is to save your arm. You know, if you're cutting like this all the time, your wrist, this is where your strong motion, you're going to be able to go through this animal safely, but also, you know, you're not going to be wearing yourself out. Okay? Okay, so pretty much the ham hock right there. So we can do what with this? So first we gotta what for it before we smoke it? What gives it the salty flavor? We want to cure it, then we want to smoke it. And you can freeze it, throw it in your greens. You've got some seasoning for your greens, right? It's where everyone, most of the time it's where we cook the hock. All right, next. We want to separate the Boston butt from the picnic shoulder. Anybody know why that's called the picnic shoulder? So it's not a big thing. It's not a big sell in the U.S. You're not going to find that a lot. But in Europe, they sell this because it's small enough for a small family to go out like on a picnic. That's enough meat. Okay? But you're not going to really find that here, you know, unless you go into a butcher shop and asking for it. It's normally broken down into other things. Okay, so we're gonna go just sorry, hold on a second. Before I cut that, I'm gonna take these ribs and spine out before I cut that, okay? So I'm gonna take this off, and all I'm doing is lifting up the bone. I'm gonna work right against it. And I'm gonna work against feather bones. What do you think we can do with this piece, this bone? Stop. Or what? Huh?
Someone said soup.
So yeah, you could use it for soup. You could even take those 2 ribs out and have riblets. Okay, if you wanted to take them off of here. Okay, take that off. Remove that. You could have 2 riblets, or you could take that whole piece. Take that whole piece as a whole and do the same thing with the hog. Cure it, smoke it, use it in another product for seasoning. Yes.
Sometimes when you go to the grocery store, you get the neck bones right next to the half bones. What those mean?
The neck bone. So if this was whole, right?
Uh-huh.
This was whole on the neck, where it comes from here to the head. Those shine bones right there, that I talked about.
Okay.
They would cut that piece off and run it on the bandsaw, and that's where you get that neck bone, where you have the portions of meat. So, can you draw me? You got a can you grab me a dry erase marker? I didn't bring one. So up here is going to be where that section is, and you'll notice that the shine bones are straight, right? But then they go rounded out to the ribs, so you almost have like this flux capacitor looking thing. Everyone knows who can relate to flux capacitor? 1980s, you know, Back to the Future. There's a Y. Okay, so you have the Y, the shine bones, and you have the round, you have the feather bones, the rounds of shine bones, and then you have the rib bones coming off of it. So when that's cut in front of the rib bones, you basically just have round bones with a lip on top. So that's where the neck bones will be coming from. Okay, and we got an ice bath over here. We're gonna keep transferring our stuff. So yeah, you can use that. So there's those bones we're talking about. All right, so our next cut is going to be separating the Boston butt from the picnic shoulder. How far do we go down? Well, we go about right there. Okay, right there. We still want a part of this scapula in the Boston butt.
Why is that?
That's the way they designed it. It also, I'll tell you what, if you're slow cooking your Boston butt, you'll know it's done when you can reach in there and pull that scapula bone out. If you can pull that out easy, it's ready to be shredded. Okay?
Something.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the Boston butt is something should be used interchangeably. So I know it's like in drugstore, but it's kind of marketed for kind of the same thing.
So I'll tell you what, I mean, the front shoulder, okay, or the picnic shoulder, you can slow cook that and shred that the same way. Okay, you can debone it. Remember, any of this you can debone and grind up, make sausage out of it, depending on how much money you want to charge for those sausages, because you just wasted one of the best cuts of meat. Yeah, we can take the scapula bone out of there and cut this into steaks and serve them like that. But who likes that shredded pork, that barbecue pork? I think they say culinary power is a little greater as shredded pork. Okay, barbecue. All right, so we're gonna just go ahead and cut this. This was the tail. Cut that off earlier. Okay, so here we have the picnic shoulder. Okay, now inside the picnic shoulder is half of the scapula and half of basically the forearm bones. What's the name of that bone? You guys got it right there, right?
It says the arm bone.
Okay, arm bone. All right,
It's very fancy.
very fancy. The arm bone becomes a little bit more important back here, because what can we cut that bone into? It's a product that we normally cook. No. So the hock is the joint. What about the bone? Starts with an O. Yeah, ossobuco. Okay. So we can cut that into ossobuco. Seen that? Round bone, big meaty portion. Who's never seen ossobuco? All right. awesome piece of meat. It's kind of expensive nowadays. It used to be cheaper, I thought, but nowadays it's a little bit more expensive. But you would braise those and cook them slowly in braising with some vegetables in the oven. Pull them out. They literally fall off the bone. You'd have a piece about that big bone, white bone afterwards. Okay, really good. All right, so here is the Boston butt. It's a lot smaller because this is a very small pig. We don't need to cook a 200-pound pig in here. This is just for training. So this one looks a little small. Now, could we pull this bone out and roll this thing up as a roast? Yeah, we could. Or we can cook it like this, like we said. We can dry rub it. We can brine it and then dry rub it and smoke it. Okay, so a lot of different things. Who's ever cooked a Boston butt? So you guys have some knowledge on that, right? Put that over there. All right. So next, that was two primals, right? We cut down. Next, we're going to move into separating the ham, also the hocks and the feet. So we'll take off the feet first as well. So where's the hock at? Where's the foot at? The hock's the joint. So we don't want to cut into the joint. A little bit different here, right? We have a little bit longer bone. Who's noticed that? Notice that little bit longer bone there? Alright, so there's the pig. We're going to do the pig feet. Now, if you didn't want to do pig feet, you could probably go in there and dig out some of the lean muscle to use it. I'm not really pushing down real hard. I'm using the length of that blade. Let that blade do its job. Alright, so we got another hot joint. Okay. Now it's time to remove. We're going to remove the loin before we cut this, so that we make sure we don't hit it. So the way that we remove the tenderloin, as where the tenderloin, which is the inside muscle, very tender. Why is that? Why is it the most tender muscle? Huh?
Doesn't use it a lot.
So it doesn't use it, right? So it's walking along. It uses all these other muscles, but this one's on the inside. Very little use. So what we're going to do, we're going to get right against the chine bone. Limited waste here, right? Now some chefs say to scrape it down with a meat cleaver like this. That will actually get all the meat away. Now you'll notice, so with the tenderloin, there's something known as pismo. So what does pismo mean? Anybody know? PSMO, or known as pismo. What you got, Chef? Alright, so we're going to peel this. We're going to peel the side muscle off. Alright, so peeled muscle side off. So here's the side muscle. When you were doing beef tenderloin, what did you guys call this? The chain, right? So for this one, peel muscle side off, pretty much the chain. We're gonna put that in our sausage area. So you have your tenderloin here. Very good. You can go in here and remove some of this silver skin. If you want to. You know, not cutting the meat, you want to just barely cut that silver skin. Now, silver skin, the Indians, if you were talking to the Indians, they would call this sinew, where it was dried up. They would dry the sinew from the buffaloes and stuff, and then once it was dry, they would chew it to soften it. They would pull it, and it's very strong. That's what they would use to tie around their arrows. I should know that, right? Because I love to hunt. So. All right, so here's our tenderloin. I got a little bit of the cartilage from the spine right there. Just take that off. Doesn't look very big, does it? So you saw how big this pig was, and you see these in the stores, and they're normally about that long, not that big around. So think about how big the pig was that it came off of.
Just think there's 2 in that pack as well, so they're in the commissary.
Yeah, true. Yeah, they put them. You see the skinny side and the big side. They'll flip one over. They'll put the big side on the skinny side. You think you're getting a big one, and then you go to open it, and you got 2 little pieces. All right, so our next cut is going to be where we separate the ham from the what? The loin. The loin. Remember, we're talking about primal cuts right now. All right, so where we need to separate this, we have the tailbone here, and right here, part of the hip. Okay, but this would wrap around. Actually, right here would be the tail. This would be the anus. This would be where the intestine would come down into the belly. So this used to be a circle. But right now it's cut in half, so we only have half of it. So what we need to do is we need to cut this on an angle so that if we lift this thing up and we set it here, this bone right here will be pointing perfectly skyward. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to come off of this H bone about 1.5 to 2 inches. Now I'm not cutting here. Okay, see? I'm going to cut at an angle. Now only cut, here's the tailbone. I'm going to go just behind the tailbone, and I'm going to cut it at an angle going this direction. Alright?
So when I went to Lowe's to buy that saw, I asked them what kind of saw is best to go through bone. And the guy looked a little freaked out. I said, "Don't worry about it. I'm not cutting up." So he was a little freaked out. But just in case you're wondering, it's metal. Metal goes best through bone. So if you're buying a blade,
The Linux blades work the best.
what's that?
Linux
All right.
brand,
Yeah.
that works the best.
Yeah,
So-
metal blade, Linux.
Linux metal blade.
Can you say that again, Benny? Just into the camera though? That'd be great.
Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut through this because I've already cut through the bone. So the rest of this is all meat. Alright. Now remember, this is going to be where we're going to get our bacon from. So I don't want to short this in too much. So if I cut that on an angle, I'm going to get this big old slab here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come back just a little bit. Come in right there. Okay. You guys see that? Alright, so now we have our ham. Now, if we want to, when you hear about wild meat tasting wild, if you ever eat wild hog or something, it's because of the lymph nodes that are in the meat, they're cooked in there. these also, these farm raised pigs, they also have lymph nodes. So what we're going to do, we're going to cut some of this out.
So it's in like a fat?
So it is in there. So there's one of them right there. Okay, and they're in a couple different places. If we were to debone it, we could find more. Let's set that down here. Alright, so there we go. And something I learned from Gunny. What is this made out of?
The stand?
Yeah. Gunny, what's it made out of?
I don't tell you that.
Yeah, you did. Gunny told me it was made out of blueberries.
I did not tell you that. Edible ink? I don't know. What is it?
It said it was berry juice.
Somebody Google it, quick.
Huh?
Lick it. Lick it. Let's see.
I mean, it would make sense, right? Who's ever
Would
got
it stay like that though?
Huh?
Maybe it's henna.
What?
Henna.
It's probably not edible though.
Like henna that you put like on your skin, you know, the temporary tattoos you can get. Because pork is like the closest to human that you can get. Like, yeah. Like the way that the bones and the flesh are. Yeah, it's the closest.
All right. So now what we're gonna do?
Same.
We're gonna break down this. The loin. All right. The loin's got about 4 different. Well, let's say a multiple of different ones we break it down. But pretty much, we're gonna have the spare ribs. We're gonna have the loin, and we're gonna have the loin back ribs, also known as what? Baby back ribs. Okay. So first, I'm gonna start. Actually, let's do this off. I'm gonna start right up here with a cut about an inch off the front of this, okay? And I'm gonna make a straight line, like I'm going straight down this thing, okay? Because whenever you eat baby back ribs, you'll notice that one end's kind of small, the other one's longer. The reason is because when you break this down so that you can have your spare ribs, you're gonna have to make a straight line cut. You're not gonna follow the angle of the ribs. You're gonna go straight down it. All right, so first I'm gonna make my first cut mark. And also, because I don't want that loin to end up in there, right? I don't want to cut into the loin. If I go cutting up way too high first, I'm gonna be into my loin. So we gotta get below the loin. Tougher with a short saw, so
Yeah, normally there's a bandsaw. Have you guys ever seen that from the back of a butcher? It's just a saw that runs up and down. The butcher just pushes it right through. Much easier than a hacksaw, but gets the same purpose done.
what I'm gonna do. Gunny, would you hold this one?
What's that?
Hold this. Because of the saw, I'm just gonna ask Gunny to hold this up.
Wash
I'm
your
gonna
hands.
cut- I'm gonna just cut down it, since this direction's obviously shorter than this direction, right? Had I had a bandsaw or a full length meat saw, it would have been a lot easier.
Doctor? Doctor?
Love it. Alright, so I'm just gonna follow that line I made earlier. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and finish off the cuts here. Okay. So now, this is our bacon, okay? Minus the teats. So we need to take these out. Teats, you know where they feed the babies?
Oh,
Okay. So we just remove those. Now, what we've got is our bacon. Well, we got a problem with our bacon, don't we? What do we got here? Who's had bacon with bones in it? It's not normally how we eat bacon, right? So we're gonna have to go in here and remove the spare ribs. Alright, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get right here on the ribs. I'm gonna follow right behind the ribs. Now you gotta be careful when you get to here, okay? Because what you're gonna find is that there's cartilage right here. See the cartilage? We don't want to hit that cartilage. See, I've got all that cartilage right there. We want to take that cartilage off. Alright, now, you'll see how I've shaved this too thin? See the cartilage here? Do you see that membrane? Natural separation there? Okay, so I should have been into that natural separation, because that would have been that natural separation for those ribs. Alright, now, for this is where we have our spare ribs. Alright? What we can do, we can come in here. There's a cartilage piece, not right there. We can come in and remove the sternum bones. Okay? You can cook that down and eat that. Who's had that piece in the dining facility where they cut through it and it's part of the rib? Okay. The proper way would have been to remove that before those racks were trimmed up. Okay? And now everyone's tracking like, oh, we never did that. Alright, well that's where that came from. Okay, so now with that removed, we straighten this up a little bit. Riblets. You have what's called the St. Louis style rib, right there. Okay, dragon, spare ribs, squared up St. Louis style ribs. All right, so with the bacon. You guys will cure this, and I think you're planning on doing something for EOC with belly, right? You are? Alright, so one of these bellies will end up being yours, or two of them, whatever. But what I do want you guys to do is we're going to come up with a cure, and we're going to salt cure this. We do have a smoker, but we're probably not going to be able to smoke it today, so we don't have enough time. Cartilage out of here.
Hey, for USC, I'm also going to need pork shoulder.
Okay. Alright, so there's our bacon. Alright, so now we are to what?
The loin.
The loin. Okay. Now the loin's got a couple different sections on it.